Hi there, wig lover. This is Heather from CysterWigs.com, and today I'm bringing you a review of a really delicious wig. This one is called Victoria by Jon Renau, and this one is coming to you courtesy of a customer who is allowing me to review her purchase in exchange for a pretty heavy discount. So thank you for doing that. And that option is always open to you too, provided that you pick a wig that hasn't already been reviewed, or at least one that hasn't been reviewed in a particular color. Because I do want to give people an opportunity to see what some of these colors look like in the wild, not just the styles. So just keep that in mind. Anyhow, Victoria is a 100% hand-tied monofilament wig, which gives you a very realistic appearance. I'm going to turn this extra light, dim it just a little bit, maybe get the camera in here just a little bit more so that you can see that this has a beautiful, beautiful lace front, gorgeous lace front, and a beautiful, beautiful hand-tied top. The color on this is number 4, which is a very dark brown. It's also called Brownie Finale. It's not the darkest brown. If you go with a number 2, it's kind of between a dark brown and an off black, but number 4 is very dark. So if you're one a dark brown but not one that's like black, this is a very nice way to go. The bang on Victoria is 6 inches long, and it's very fringy, so it's really nice because I like it kind of when they're longer like this and not blunt cut, and the fringiness kind of gives it a little bit of depth. It is a graduated bob, and it's a little stacked in the back, and I'll show you what I mean here. So here's the back. It's kind of hard to tell in this color, but by saying it's stacked, it just means it's layered up like this, which is not uncommon when you see one that's graduated, which means that it's fairly dramatically longer in the front than it is towards the back. So this is a very, very nice modern bob with a very beautiful side swept fringe. Now, just keep in mind that monofilament hand-tied caps tend to be a little snug. They're designed to be that way, and they're kind of that way just by the nature of the monofilament. So what I mean by that is monofilament doesn't really stretch much. So if the entire cap is made of monofilament, it's not going to stretch much. So you want to pay very close attention to the measurements. If you ever have any questions about whether or not this will fit you properly, please submit me an email. I'd be very, very happy just to take your measurements and let you know whether or not the interior of this wig will work for you. Because like I said, there isn't a whole lot of give. You can adjust it to fit a little bit smaller, but getting it to fit a little bit bigger can be a bit of a challenge. But that being said, the hand-tied caps from the Jon Renau line do stretch a little bit more than, say, those of the Raquel Welch line or other brands that provide hand-tied caps. So that's a plus, but it still won't accommodate a large head. So that's something that I definitely want to bring home to you. If you have a genuinely large head size, which to me is arguably 23 inches in circumference, but to me, in reality, it pans out to be more like 24 for most large caps. Definitely take the measurements into consideration before ordering a hand-tied cap. But this will accommodate most people's heads very comfortably. My circumference is 23.5 inches, and I actually find this to be snug, but it's comfortable. It's not giving me a headache or anything like that, and I've had it on at this point for several minutes. So yeah, I actually think that this could accommodate most people. And the style is very, very flattering. And it comes in a very wide range of colors. And in general, the Jon Renau fibers are very beautiful. They're very fine quality, and they're some of my favorites. The Jon Renau wigs that I reviewed so far, as far as the aesthetic quality of the wigs, are some of my favorite because they're very, very consistent across the brand. I mean, every brand's gonna have a couple clunkers and a couple old lady wigs and those sort of things that you gotta kind of keep in mind. But by and large, this is a very consistent brand, and the quality is very good. So it's hard to go wrong. It has a smart lace front, which is a trademark patented kind of lace front. But I like them because they're dense. Very, very, very dense, but not unrealistically so. So instead of it being like a block of hair here, it is very well spaced. I mean, that's a delicious lace front. That's very nice. The coverage on the sides is quite good. And the motion of the hair is very realistic. Now also keep in mind that monofilament tops, hand-tied wigs in general, fit very, very close to the scalp. So if you're used to wearing open caps a lot, which tend to fit a little bit more loosely, and they tend to have a lot more elastic in them because instead of, you know, the traditional cap construction, they're bound by elastic bands. This will not stretch like that, and it does fit very, very close. So if you're looking for a wig that's got a lot of body and a lot of permatease, don't go for a hand-tied cap in general because they're designed to look as absolutely natural as possible, which means that they're not going to give you a lot of poof because that poof requires a structure underneath it to support it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cap off so you can see what it looks like. All right, so here we go. Beautiful, beautiful hand-tied cap. Like I said, it stretches a little, but it's not particularly stretchy. It does have these stretchy bands on the side, and it does have these Velcro tabs that will adjust, but you're not going to get the same amount of adjustment that you would with an open cap. So I want to just keep bringing that home. Because I've had some customers say after they buy hand-tied caps that, oh, this fits really tight. It's supposed to fit tight. It's just part of the way these wigs are constructed. And if it fits loosely, you might actually want to go down a size. So here is the lace front from this side. Very nicely done. The mono top. Very, very nice. And it does have felt at the ears, as well as felt at the napes. So napes, plural. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. But it's going to be very, very comfortable. And for the record, this is what the back of the wig looks like. I can't, hopefully you can see some of those knots back there. It's not uncommon in a hand-tied cap to see the knots grouped in the back and individual in the front. That's actually pretty standard. Otherwise, the wigs would be ridiculously expensive and you'd have a lot of shedding because the individual fibers tend to shed more, the individual knots, as opposed to the group knots. They tend to be very well reinforced. But, you know, the knotting in the back of this wig is very well done. It's very evenly spaced, and they're not too far apart, if you can see that. So the effect is going to be still very realistic and not particularly pluggy. So very, very nice wig. And if I hold it up, you can see some more of those razored ends. Very pretty, modern, graduated bob. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on. This is a light wig. It's only 2.6 ounces, so it should be very, very comfortable. But do keep in mind that if you live in a very hot climate, these monofilament wigs don't breathe as well as open caps do, because, you know, with open caps you get spacing in between the wefts. You're not really going to get that much with monofilament. The hair is all over. So, and because monofilament itself is generally made of a petroleum-based product similar to like nylon or acrylic, it doesn't really breathe very much. So just keep that in mind too. But at this weight, I think you're going to be okay. It tends to be with the slightly longer wigs that the monofilament caps tend to be kind of hot. And as you notice, I just barely ran this Jon Renau wide tooth comb through it. I do recommend with wigs that are really sleek and straight like this that you carry one of these on you. Or, you know, any wide tooth comb will really do, though this will probably be enough. You don't really need to brush. Brushing tends to build up static. It tends to be really hard on the wigs. Combs, for the most part, will do the trick, and they will save your hair the added wear and tear. So extend the life of your wigs. Even though I'm in the business of selling them when they wear out, I definitely want to make sure you get your money's worth and get as much life out of them as you possibly can, especially when they're hand-tied like this and they're kind of pricey. Because even though it's worth it for the illusion of having the hair coming right out of your scalp, I mean, that's a beautiful convincing wig, you know, I definitely don't want you to burn through them like crazy, because that's expensive. It's really expensive. You know, I want to help too. So thank you for watching this review of Victoria by Jon Renau. Gets a thumbs up from me. It's a beautiful wig. And hopefully I'll see you again later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.